Welcome back, YouTubers, to another good and bad audio, good and bad of the week audio, I should say, in wrestling with me, Mr. Parkin, and this guy sitting next to me is NJ.
What's up?
You can't see him, but you can definitely hear him, and me too, by the way. Make sure you guys subscribe up above, of course, like this video, and put your comments on This Week in Wrestling down in that comment section below.
Please contact us in the links in the description box below.
Indeed, make sure you contact us. This week in wrestling, just after Bound for Glory, going into Vengeance, you expected this week to be quite a good follow-on and a follow-up to the pay-per-views that we'd see. But from what we saw, TNA was total shit.
So we're going to give you the good, the bad, and the very ugly.
Definitely so. Shall we start off with Raw then?
Start with Raw.
So Raw this week came from good old Mexico, the home of Del Rio, Sin Cara, Rey Mysterio. So who did we open the show with? John Laurinaitis comes out and say, I can't believe this guy opened the show, man. It's like, he's such a channel changer. It's like, he's such a bad TV personality, and the way he talks, I don't understand why he's opening shows.
And really, to be honest, he had nothing important to say, so for him to be opening was quite poor, I thought.
Well, he brought back JR and said that, instead of putting you on commentary, I'm going to put you in the main event. With John Cena and JR versus Del Rio and Michael Cole in the main event. Do the Mexican fans really want to see this? I would think no.
A Raw going show, no, they really do not want to see this before their pay-per-view this Sunday. So
yeah, so this wasn't a good opening at all. John Laurinaitis is very boring on the mic. He announced a main event, which really, in our opinion, was always going to suck because we had Michael Cole and JR in there needlessly. Even though it kind of hypes for their pay-per-view match, you know, it's still just, oh god, just really wasn't the best opener. Shit.
No, at least the next match picked us up a bit.
Yes, next match we had Randy Orton, Sheamus, and John Morrison versus Mark Henry, Cody Rhodes, and Christian. It's six-man tag action, combining a couple of feuds there from SmackDown, even though John Morrison isn't involved.
And that is the big question. Why did WWE add John Morrison into this match?
I believe I have an answer for you, NJ. It was because they wanted to advance the other two storylines like they did in this segment, sort of, and have Mark Henry pin John Morrison and look strong going into the pay-per-view.
No, it's not that. It is to give John Morrison a chance to appear on TV and give him a push that he deserves.
I guess so, yeah. You know, they advanced the two storylines. You've got Orton and Rhodes, Christian and Sheamus, then Mark Henry getting the pin on Morrison. Kind of makes sense, didn't it? It lasted 11 minutes. I didn't mind the match itself. It did its job for the pay-per-view.
It paired off all the feuds, so it kind of led down to the way it should be for the pay-per-view. Yes.
And it led us to the feeling that we would have Cody Rhodes and Orton and Christian versus Sheamus at the pay-per-view. And we got those matches announced from SmackDown and Raw. So. And
a feud between Mark Henry and John Morrison, yes.
Yeah, okay, we'll go. Big show, but whatever. Yeah. So that segment was good. I enjoyed that segment. I thought it was pretty decent. Did well for the pay-per-view.
John Morrison did good.
We had CM Punk versus Miz being announced, and we had a whole thing with the winner of the main event will be able to pick the stipulation for their match of Vengeance between Cena and Del Rio.
Very clever idea. Very clever idea.
Yes, indeed. Next, we have the Diva segment. My God, the British Fist Tea Time guys would have enjoyed this one, wouldn't they?
Indeed they would.
Eve Torres versus Natalia. And we get this whole announcement that Eve Torres is going to be the #1 contender. And it's like, why?
No way.
Exactly. You know, you have Eve Torres win the match up and Natalia dominates. And it's just the same old shit, really, for Diva segments, isn't it?
We really did not want to see Eve Torres wrestle because, to be honest, she's just not as good as the other Divas are. But whatever, she's got a match at the pay-per-view, so that should be boring. I
guess this is filler for a Kelly Beth Phoenix feud continuing. Again, so, yes. Yeah. Just shit. Let's go on to a segment that we liked, NJ. Miz versus CM Punk. This, to me, was the best overall segment of the night. You know, it was the hour main event. Truth and Miz got some mic time before the match. And that's good because that adds a lot to the segment and a lot to the storytelling, which is needed.
And they're very entertaining on mic, so to give that entertainment aspect to Raw was good.
And the match itself, Miz versus CM Punk, well, the match got about 15 minutes. The match itself was going very well. It was being worked well. Miz as the heel was dominating CM Punk the face. It was going rather well until John Laurinaitis comes out and stops the match. And that really ruined the flow for me. Even though the segment was good, I felt the John Laurinaitis bit ruined the flow, but it did help storytelling.
Well, it was kind of horrible because, to be honest, they have a match for the pay-per-view, so for Triple H to be at ringside would have definitely added aspect to their feud or their rivalry going to the pay-per-view.
Yeah, you had Truth and Triple H on the outside, you know, with the tag team match coming up, this is the right way to go. Very well booked segment. I guess the reason why they did this was to get Triple H out of the arena, carry on the storyline between him and John Laurinaitis, and also allow the heels to get one up on the face. And it did do that very well, and that is why I thought this segment was very effective. The heels did get one up on the face, and that is what you want to see just before a pay-per-view match, so you can build anticipation.
It is. You do want the heels looking strong, and as they're a newish tag team, you do want them looking strong together.
Yeah, definitely. Next segment we got was Jack Swagger versus Zack Ryder, and that lasted 30 seconds. I don't really want to talk about this match anymore. It was just a squash job, wasn't it, really? To
be honest, it was horrible because Jack Swagger, former World Heavyweight Champion, lost to Zack Ryder in 30 seconds.
30 seconds. This whole thing, Swagger sings the national anthem, and he gets more heat than he ever has got in his life just from singing the national anthem in Mexico. My God. But this segment just sucked. You know, the segment got better when Mason Ryan came out, didn't it?
That saved it. Thank God Mason Ryan came out.
I loved Mason Ryan's theme music. Mason Ryan coming out really did make this segment a lot better, in my opinion. We had Mason Ryan coming out saying, "Ziggler, get in the ring, we're going to have a match." Because he's from Wales and he has a really weird accent, which will make over as a baby face, I imagine.
And what I would have liked to see is maybe have had the title on the line instead of having the title line against stupid Zack Ryder at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, so we had Ziggler versus Mason Ryan. You know, this match really did its job of making Mason Ryan look good. And it also made Mason Ryan look like he was the #1 contender until we found out that Zack Ryder was getting a title match. And I was like, why? When Mason Ryan is clearly looking like the #1 contender here, as Zack Ryder beat Jack Swagger in 30 seconds, which was stupid.
Yeah, and the only appalling thing is, instead of having a clean finish over the Dolph Ziggler like he always has, you have the DQ by Mason Ryan battering him.
I don't mind the DQ. It kind of makes Mason Ryan look strong without Ziggler losing the match. But I felt a tag match could have been better done here. Maybe would have made a little bit more sense. Maybe would have cut out all this malarkey in the middle. Maybe a tag match could have been better. I don't know. I'm just putting out ideas out there. That's all.
Well, it could have, but I'm kind of liking they build up time by spreading matches out. But
the first one was 30 seconds. Fucking hell.
That's pretty bad.
No, it was terrible. We get the US title match made for Vengeance, Ryder versus Ziggler. I guess, yeah. I just wonder why Mason Ryan isn't in that match, but it seems like they kind of ditched the tag title idea until we figure out that it was still on the card. So is Ziggler going to wrestle twice?
It looks like he will do, yeah.
They run through the match card at Vengeance, which is needed, as you know. So there was some matches made tonight. They didn't need to make these. They didn't need to announce these matches, especially with only what is effectively 2 weeks of build going into this pay-per-view.
And talk about build. This next match, to be honest, it hasn't had the strongest build for this certain pay-per-view.
No, I mean tonight we had about 4 matches announced, I believe, which is good for the pay-per-view. But this main event sucked. Cena and JR versus Del Rio and Colt says so much. I can't believe this got 11.5 minutes. I mean, come on. You really want to get this guy, Del Rio, who's popular in Mexico, and you do a match like this. Fucking hell. Yeah, the match wasn't bad, it's just that the booking of Del Rio at the end was awful.
I know, I really did like this. The match itself, I couldn't care much. It was just a messed up match.
Yeah.
And at the end, they have John Cena burying in many ways, Del Rio.
Do you know what also buried Del Rio? The fact he tagged in Cole, and he was like, "Oh, go in there," and he went out the ring. It's like, my God, as a motorbike goes past our window. You know, this segment really didn't get me looking forward to the match that much. It was just Cena burying Del Rio. And we get the announcement that there's going to be a last man standing match, which was nice, and the segment led to that very well. It's just Cena burying Del Rio in Mexico when Del Rio's the champion and needs to be developed as this champion. Sucked.
1, 2,
oh, please don't.
3,
we don't have time.
4,
we don't have time in this.
5.
Okay. What was your thoughts on the overall thoughts
6.
on the segment?
Yeah, I was just picturing myself on a motorbike because that got in my mind. But yeah, the match itself. John Cena, you fucking suck! What are you doing? Don't react for! You know what? Fuck you!
Yeah, exactly. Fuck you, Cena. So yeah, they're not really getting looking forward to the pay-per-view match. The crowd was really good though. The crowd responded well, which I liked, because we don't see that too much in America. So the crowd pretty much saved this show, in my opinion, even though the show wasn't great.
No, it wasn't really a good Raw, not a go-home show Raw, so thanks for that, WWE.
But at least we got 4 matches announced, which was nice. We needed that. That was one positive I took from this Raw.
Well, with a week away, they needed to, so good on you, WWE.
Rushing pay-per-view hype as usual, WWE. Right, shall we move on to the show, which we don't really want to talk about too much? That was the TNA Impact Wrestling following Bound for Glory.
Yeah, let's. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into this review about TNA, I'm going to let Dan explain why he was angry during this review.
Yes, as we all know on the TNA Impact Wrestling review, I did kind of lose it a lot. And the reason why I lost it was because when in the wrestling business, as it is at the moment, it's very stale and very boring. And when you have a company like TNA who could be potential competition to WWE, meaning that the business could kind of get better with competition, and when they put out shit like that, it really pisses me off. As I'm a very passionate wrestling fan, as MJ knows. And when you get a TNA putting out that kind of shit, you wonder where this business is going sometimes. And that's why I was so angry, because TNA put out this crap following their biggest pay-per-view of the year.
And what I want to say is that, yes, it is their big pay-per-view of the year, and this is their go-home show.
This was the follow-on show, wasn't it? Yeah, exactly, and it was crap. But yeah, we'll start off by saying it was pretty shit. We'll get through what happened. You know, TNA, when you follow your biggest pay-per-view of the year, with Robert Roode losing that main event in the way he did, how do you follow this up? You follow it up with a 45 fucking minute opening segment. My God, there was so much going on in this segment, and it wasn't even that bad. The work in it wasn't that bad. It's just the fact that it was 45 minutes long.
It had all the top dogs, so again, that is just TNA concentrating on them a bit too much, because to be honest, it is about wrestling. We tune in to watch wrestling. The 45 minutes talk was a letdown.
Yeah. You know, you have 4 commercials during this. I mean, you open up with Sting. He brings out Dixie Carter, and, you know, Dixie Carter gives him the sort of GM role on TNA. So that was a good way to open the show. You then bring Hulk Hogan out, and, you know, they have this little interaction. Hogan puts over Sting, and I really do feel like that could have ended there. And you could have perhaps done these other segments later on in the night, possibly. But, you know, this segment was just so damn long. And I like the work done in it. It's just that it was so fucking long.
Yeah, too many came out. And basically, forget about the first part, about the Sting part. It basically concentrated on the main event. Build it for the main event.
You had Angle come out as well, pretty much burying Robert Roode, saying that he beat him, blah, blah, blah. And then Robert Roode comes out and wants his rematch, but then there's this whole contract clause which doesn't allow him to get his rematch. And then James Storm comes out, and all of a sudden we get James Storm versus Kurt Angle announced for the main event. And it's like, oh my God, we know what this big spoiler was.
Yeah, basically they're all having a party in the ring.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah.
Rude did well on the mic, I give him that. But my God, why did they not make Rude win the title? Bound for Glory. Especially if they were going to put the main event out like they did. This opening segment sucked. I mean, the work was good, but it just lasted too long. How is it supposed to keep our attention for 45 minutes? An opening segment. I've seen opening segments before, when TNA was shit back in February, but not a 45-minute one. I mean, fucking hell.
Some of this could be done a lot quicker, or even spreading out throughout the night.
Exactly.
Like whatever TNA.
It would have been a lot better. So yeah, that opening just sucked. I just didn't like it. But we had a main event announced from it. And we all know what happened in that main event, but we'll go on to it when it comes, shall we?
Yes.
Next we had... Oh, way to follow up an opening segment which lasted 45 minutes. Give us some wrestling. That's great, TNA. Winter and Angelina versus Teshmaka and Tara for the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. So you actually... On the follow-up show to Bound for Glory, you're having a Knockouts Tag Team match where Winter has just lost her Knockouts belt. Should she be wanting to get her fucking title back? Why was this even on the follow-up show? I don't understand.
Yeah, when I look at Winter and Angelina, they should be concentrating more on Mickie James or Velvet Sky. And to be honest, they could even had Winter and Angelina versus Velvet Sky and Mickie James for a match. But I don't know what they're doing here.
You know, why are they getting a title shot? And also, why did Winter, the Knockouts champion, former Knockouts champion, get pinned? I mean, God, she barely gets featured as the Knockout champion, and then as soon as she loses it, she has to do the job for Brooke Teshmaka. My God. This segment sucked, again. 3.5 minutes.
A horrible match, but again, you all expected this from TNA, because as we've heard from our other review, it doesn't get much better from here.
No, it doesn't. Jeff Hardy and the Jeff Jarrett segment. Oh my God. We saw a segment between Jeff Hardy and Jeff Jarrett at Bound for Glory. We saw the exact same segment on this show, which really says to me, why was this segment on Bound for Glory, which meant that the main event didn't get as much time as it should have done?
If anything, they should have just had a match.
Or just not done the promo on Bound for Glory and just done it here. Then I wouldn't have minded this so much, because it's hyping a feud for a turning point between the two.
Yeah, but you know what Jarrett's like.
Oh yeah, we all know what Jarrett's like. He likes to hog the spotlight. He wants to put himself in a program with a Jeff Hardy, and he'll probably go on for a couple of months like he did with fucking Kurt Angle. You know, at least I'll say this. At least this showed the intensity of the feud. But I'll say this though. The highlight for me was D'Lo Brown and Al Snow pushing each other. That was the highlight. That's how bad this segment was.
Even though we're not going to see it, but if they have a match, I'll go right behind it. Support all the way.
Jeff Hardy, all the way.
D'Lo Brown versus
D'Lo Brown, Al Snow. That'd be a nice little
back.
filler feud there. So that wasn't very good. We didn't like that. It's just the way that they've gone from the exact same segment, Bound for Glory, exact same segment, Impact Wrestling, when it could have just been on Impact Wrestling. That's what annoyed us. Another thing that annoyed us, it looks like they're doing a TV title feud. The most irrelevant title, apart from the Knockouts tag title. They're doing a feud between Robbie E and Eric Young. And not only that, but they're introducing more Jersey Shore characters. Why? We don't want to see this.
Two things I want to say. Eric Young hasn't been appearing for a while. That was a good thing because I've enjoyed TNA because of that. And this whole Jersey Shore thing, to be honest, just because they're big on the States and all that, they don't need to be brought in to show us about wrestling.
Look, we've seen how badly TNA have done this thing with Jersey Shore, and WWE with Snooki, because that was terrible. But I don't know why they're doing it anymore. They've signed up a Jersey Shore guy for 4 episodes, so it looks like they've been doing a feud every week. I don't want to fucking see this. I don't know, just for me. Big time I don't expect good things from this feud. Next match. Well, we had a match. Fucking hell, we had a match. Gunner versus Abyss. 2 minutes of wrestling. This was to bring back the Monster Abyss, wasn't it? But it makes Gunner look so weak in the process.
One, Gunner's a member of Immortal, and Immortal meant to be these big guys, don't care about anything.
Yeah.
And to be honest, having one running away from another member of Immortal, or an ex-member, it just looked poor for Gunner. But
now they haven't got Hulk Hogan. It looks like they're not as big a faction as we thought they would be. So basically, Abyss is now face. Gunner runs away, gets himself counted out. It wasn't really a good follow-up from the pay-per-view, was it? I mean, God's sake. It had nothing to do with the pay-per-view.
And all I'd say is that we're going to expect more from Abyss and Immortal members.
I just don't care about this at all. I really don't.
No, I just look forward to see what happens to Abyss. Where does it go from here?
We then have a Velvet Sky segment. And while she won the Knockouts Championship, it makes sense she comes out and parades herself. She is pretty good on the mic, so it was a decent segment. She was talking about her emotional win and how she'd have this work. Until until Karen Jarrett interferes and hogs all the mic time because it's all about her.
Yeah,
exactly.
I couldn't speak. But the thing is, okay, I would have expected a future opponent of hers to come out first, like Mickey James
Madison Rayne.
Yeah, she eventually came out.
Madison Rayne. But the thing is, this segment sucked. Karen Jarrett hogging all the mic time sucks. But we had the return of Gail Kim, and it looks like they're going to be doing Gail Kim versus Velvet Sky at some point. And Gail Kim got a decent reaction. It's nice to see her now on TNA rather than WWE where she was getting treated like shit. So, I don't mind. I'll have to see what happens here. But the segment was shit apart from Gail Kim coming out and attacking Velvet Sky, which I thought was alright.
Gail Kim was the highlight. The Velvet Sky mic, I'll say okay, but my highlight was Gail Kim because now we're going to see her probably do a lot better in TNA than she did in WWE.
And hopefully she can carry Velvet Sky. That's all I can say. Next, before the main event, I'm surprised this wasn't the fucking main event the way TNA go. Hogan and Immortal segment. My God. First things first. Why didn't Immortal's music go off? Why did Bischoff's music go off? Immortal come down as a group. Why didn't Immortal's theme go off? My God.
I think it's because Bischoff's the new leader now. Hogan's out.
Bischoff calls out Hogan, and they have this little stare down about their history and how Bischoff has said, Hogan's given up on Immortal and everything.
And Bischoff slaps him!
Oh, God. Yeah, that ain't gonna get... You! Then you have this series of events where Sting and Hogan team up against Immortal with baseball bats, and Immortal run away. And this whole segment pretty much geared to Bischoff's son punching Bischoff. Now, what the fuck is this going to do with your next pay-per-view or anything? I just don't understand why this segment was done like it was.
We've seen two old men wrestle. I think we can see Bischoff versus his son.
Oh, yeah! God, I do not want to see that. So, yeah, that segment sucked as well. Then we get to the main event.
Here we go.
The main event. This is the talking point of the show. James Storm versus Kurt Angle for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. To cut a long story short, James Storm wins.
Angle, sorry about your damn luck.
Exactly. Storm wins the title in 1 minute. We know that Angle is injured. So this was basically TNA panicking and saying, my God, we didn't give the belt to fucking Bobby Roode, so we're going to have to do something to get ratings, and this is Bischoff's main problem. He focuses way too much on ratings. They couldn't do anything else to help sort of maybe build a pay-per-view match and have it drop it at the pay-per-view. And the match lasted 1 minute. I'm supposed to believe that this guy has won the title in 1 minute after Bobby Roode couldn't beat him in a 20-minute match. Do you know what I mean?
It's quite appalling because Bobby Roode is probably seen as the one who's been brought up over the last couple of weeks, month, to a bigger star, and he's the one expected to win the championship. But I think James Storm's won, so they can finally beer money against each other.
And that is one thing I do want to see. I do definitely want to see that. I just don't like the way they gave James Storm the belt. You know, James Storm has been in the business for 15 years. He deserves a good title reign. The problem is, look how they give it to him. The week after they've just had built up Bobby Roode. And it's such an injustice to James Storm. He's won the title, but it's such an injustice to him. Why don't they just have him win the Bound for Glory series? And it's another free TV title win again, which makes that belt mean fuck all.
BFG series would have made more sense, but the thing is, yes, Angle's injured, but to be honest, that made him look terribly weak. That he has to lose his championship in a 1 minute match. I
did enjoy the celebration, though. I thought the celebration was very good and a good way to end the show. I just didn't like the way this whole title win has been led up to is stupid.
The heartbreaking thing about the celebration is that Bobby Roode had to stand there and celebrate with James Storm.
And put the belt on James Storm.
Ah, ouch, ouch, ouch.
So yeah, there we go then. That is TNA Impact. We just wanted to avoid it, but we talked about it for you guys. So should we go on to SmackDown now?
Let's go on to SmackDown.
So let's see if SmackDown could be the better show of the week. Coming again from Mexico, again a great crowd. We had Del Rio open the show, which is logical as he is, he is the hometown boy. I'm glad he opened the show.
And the thing is, when he came out, what a pop for Alberto Del Rio!
Exactly. I find it funny how this guy can open SmackDown, but he can't open Raw. I just find that quite funny.
He is the WWE champion, the champion of Raw, so he should have been the opener of Raw as well as SmackDown.
He talks about his pay-per-view match, how he can't compete against the Big Show tonight because of the beating that John Cena gave him. And that was it. He got about 3 minutes of mic time. Is that all they're going to give him in his hometown of fucking Mexico? Really, as an opener? Give him more mic time than that, surely.
He does deserve it, because I think, to be honest, him having his mic time would be a lot better than the main event. Maybe we could do it different the main event. And Alberto Del Rio, Mike, he needs more of it because he's our champion.
Definitely so. He needs to get his character across more than anyone, I feel, as the WWE champion.
Very true.
Then we get that Teddy Long comes out and says that he will still be in his match tonight with Big Show because he passed a medical. So yeah, there we go. And he also starts doing this all audience shit again, which is really stupid when you're booking a show. Don't put it to the audience. Jeez.
No, you're SmackDown's GM. Act like one.
So the main event was announced. Del Rio versus Big Show. That was effective, but they just did not give they just didn't give him enough mic time, and it's just that really downgraded the segment for me.
Very true. Same here.
Then we have Mark Henry versus John Morrison.
Oh, not much to say here apart from
exactly. Henry squashes Morrison, and I guess the bottom line is Mark Henry looks strong against someone that's not booked at the pay-per-view. It was effective in that sense.
And even though it got quite a long length of time, John Morrison looked okay in the match, but again, he can look good, but he can't win.
Yep. Also, we had 2 matches booked for the pay-per-view. Christian versus Sheamus, a match which does make a lot of sense, seeing as they've been feuding for a while. And Dolph Ziggler versus Zack fucking Ryder for the US title of Vengeance. So Dolph Ziggler is in 2 matches, and he has to defend against Ryder. Now, what has he done to earn a title shot? I don't understand where the logic is.
He's had 2 pinfalls over Ziggler, but nothing important.
Just have him in a tag match. Why have him in 2? Don't understand. Unless there's no tag match.
Well, there will be, but again, I don't know what they're doing there.
No, I don't know either, but should we go on to the next segment?
Yeah.
Wade Barrett versus Daniel Bryan. Last time I looked, these weren't booked in a match at the pay-per-view. Daniel Bryan is the Money in the Bank winner, and he hasn't been featured on TV in what seems like a long time. It was nice to see Wade Barrett and Daniel Bryan on TV, as I do feel this feud could have worked for both of them in the long run if they actually did something with the feud.
Well, they did start to have a little back-and-forth action back in few months or a few weeks
SummerSlam
back,
it was, wasn't it?
But they could have continued that, and people could have brought into it, enjoyed it, and it could have gone somewhere for both of them.
It's amazing how much worse off these guys are from the SummerSlam. This match could have been I think this could have been a very good feud. The pre-tape with Barrett and his heel, his talking was very good. The match itself, Barrett dominated. It was, the match was worked quite well. You just know that this is one of those segments on SmackDown which it got 5 minutes. It was a good match, but you just know that this is one of those segments that's filler and it's not going anywhere. Daniel Bryan is a Money in the Bank winner. He should be featured every week on SmackDown, and he's on Superstars half the week.
Sadly, as we're still a few months off WrestleMania, I think he's starting to look good. Won't happen just yet, but it should do. But
it was just a filler segment, really, wasn't it? Even though I thought it was well done, it was just a filler segment which really isn't going anywhere.
No, but it's glad to see them both on TV. Yeah. That is the main thing. We've seen the 2 wrestlers that we like on TV, and Wade picks up the win.
On the go-home show, though. Wrong place to put it, in my opinion.
But it is indeed.
Go on to the next match. Sheamus and Zack Ryder versus Ziggler and Christian combining two matches they're going to be having at the pay-per-view. NJ, you give your opinions, then I'll give mine.
Well, as much as they needed to do this because they don't really have the roster to make other matches, to be honest, you're clashing two feuds, whatever you say, in one match. And to be honest, who's going to come out as the winner? You've got to decide here, people.
Sheamus. He's the biggest guy out of those four, in my opinion.
But they all have title matches or matches at the pay-per-view, so...
I do see your point, NJ. I did enjoy this. I thought it had 4 minutes. I thought the match was pretty decent. They're making Sheamus, again, look like a really strong guy. And at the end of the day, who is more important? Is it Sheamus or is it Ziggler? I'm just wondering, because I don't really see who could have got the pin here other than Sheamus on Ziggler. I don't know. I don't like the fact that the US champion was pinned. I really don't. But I don't see what else they could have done. Maybe not have this match.
Yeah,
segment.
They could have done something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after the match, we had Christian spearing Sheamus. It's good to hype for their pay-per-view match, I guess. Even though it got showed during commercial, it was just stupid. I thought they should have just had it on the segment. But
it made Christian look strong over Sheamus, so that's done good for the pay-per-view match.
So I guess it's developed two storylines going into the pay-per-view, which is needed on a go-home show, essentially. Even if we don't agree with them too much, especially the Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler one. Next, we had a promo segment with Cody Rhodes addressing the WWE Universe. We all know that Cody Rhodes is pretty decent on the mic. He comes out and talks about Orton inflicting emotional pain on him in the past. He refers back to the whole legacy thing with Orton burying legacy for a pointless face turn, which has turned boring. And we see this. It was what I thought was a very good segment explaining why Cody Rhodes wants to feud with Randy Orton, and that's why I think it was quite effective.
Cody got his point across, but then he actually did call out Orton. Then Orton came out, wasted no time, got in the ring, and they had a little rumble.
Yeah, he comes out and says that Rhodes cost him the title. Again, another reason why they're feuding. He's cost him something that's important to him, I guess. It's them two going at it. Orton comes out on top with him kicking the baggers or something, and Rhodes receipts down the ramp. I don't like Orton coming out on top in this segment, but I guess it was a good segment to hype up the pay-per-view match. So a little bit of a brawl. Cody Rhodes getting out of there. Their match of the pay-per-view should be pretty good.
So it's got them set up, not one looking strong than the other.
Yeah.
Maybe, but there we go.
Yeah, and it's not for the IC title either, so I expect Orton to win that. So effective segment in my opinion. You?
I do agree that it's made Cody Rhodes look ready for the match and Orton looking strong as well.
Of course, Orton always has to look strong, brother.
Yes.
Next, we had a match, Sin Cara versus Sin Cara in a mask versus mask match. Before the match even started, we had this whole video vignette showing why they were feuding based on their history in Mexico. And I thought that was needed because we need a reason to believe why these guys are feuding, because at the moment they haven't really talked that much. I'm just surprised they didn't show those vignettes a couple of weeks ago when they started feuding, to be honest.
It would have been more sense, but the match itself, I enjoyed it. Same. Nice flowing match, good spots, and just entertaining match.
I think at the pay-per-view, a lot of people didn't like the match because it was worked in a Lucha Libre style, but this one was worked in a more American style with Lucha Libre aspects in there. This match was good. Had some good storytelling in it with the Black Sin Cara trying to take off the Blue Sin Cara's mask. I just think this match might have been better at the pay-per-view. Just the way this segment went. It was a very good segment, don't get me wrong, for a TV. But I feel the way this segment could have gone, if this is going to end the feud, which I kind of guess it will in a mask versus mask match, I feel it probably should have been at the pay-per-view.
Well, in SmackDown's eyes, I think they're just thinking, these Sin Caras are not hugely important to us, so why not just have it on SmackDown in Mexico and just finish it there?
Yeah, we saw Sin Cara finally executing the Mystica correctly, which was nice to see. Good move and a good armbar finisher, kind of similar to Del Rio, but better done.
It was a nice way to finish a good match, so I do like that.
10.5 minutes it got as well, which is very good time.
The best length match of the night.
Yes, and then Sin Cara takes off the other Sin Cara's mask, so we see what this Black Sin Cara actually looks like.
Yeah, nice shaved head.
And I think we said in the review a cross between Jay Briscoe and Rey Mysterio, but
he pretty much
something like that. Next, we had a segment with the Divas. One thing I've wanted WWE to try and parade to us a bit more, but I kind of regretted it as soon as this segment started. You had Beth Phoenix and Natalya coming out, cutting a promo on all the model divas, and they showed footage of them like being dominant over Alicia Fox and people like that. I thought that was good, decent, although the promo didn't really get that much better. No,
Beth Phoenix was dressed awfully, not a Divas of Doom style. Eve Torres comes out, basically pushes and embarrasses Beth Phoenix. It just got awful. It just didn't like it.
You have to present the Divas of Doom as anti-model divas, and the way they had them dressed, it's almost like they are model divas, and that pissed me off. And Eve Torres coming out, and this is what happens when you have to rush a pay-per-view match, the hype of the pay-per-view match.
And it's equaled us not caring about it.
Yep.
So whatever, just finish the match, Beth, and just go on to the next rivalry.
Exactly, and you'll see more of that in our Vengeance preview, of course. Next was the main event, Del Rio versus Big Show. Just quickly give your thoughts on this match.
Again, just like other matches tonight, you'll have two people who need to look good, strong, going into the pay-per-view. And I don't think this match really gave us the strength to either one of them.
So I didn't think it was too bad. I thought it lasted 9 minutes. It didn't bury either guy because the match ended in a DQ. So that was good. I like the fact that they didn't end it clean like they did with a lot of other segments. It's just that the main problem for me with this segment was the way that Big Show and Mark Henry are feuding, right? He knocks out Del Rio and then he knocks out Mark Henry, and I'm wondering why the hell is Big Show knocking out Del Rio? Why doesn't Del Rio just escape the ring, allow them two to collide, then do that?
Well, we have seen Del Rio escape the ring in other shows. Why couldn't he have done it tonight?
Exactly.
But he wanted to be the big brave dog, so basically he got what he deserved. But still, Del Rio looked buried, so
he looked very, very weak going. He's been beat up by Cena, now he's been beat up by Big Show. Why would I believe he's going to win at the pay-per-view? I just don't understand what this is really doing for Del Rio, especially in his home fucking town, home fucking country even.
That was really horrible for Del Rio, but it was no better for Mark Henry. Mark Henry got punched down with one punch, he laid out flat, and that was him. If that was at the pay-per-view, we could have a new champion.
Yeah. Well, at least it's hype for the pay-per-view. I'll give it that. You know, sometimes the face has to come out on top, even though we don't usually like it. I don't know, but I'll just leave it there. Should we go on to our overall thoughts, or do you have any more thoughts on the main event itself? Or
no, that's it. All I can say is, Big Show, well done, and good luck for your match.
So we want to begin this overall thoughts by saying that we didn't read any spoilers this week. Me, NJ didn't read spoilers for any show. I read the spoilers for TNA, but we didn't read the spoilers for Raw or SmackDown either.
It was tempting because we're used to it, and if TNA and SmackDown did not put their spoilers, we wouldn't have to do so at all.
Exactly.
The temptation would be gone.
The main question this week is, what was the better show? And what was this like as a week in wrestling for you, NJ? And what was the better show for you?
Week of wrestling, I didn't really enjoy it. It didn't give me a kick of enjoyment. I could say there was parts of each show that I liked, but my favourite show of the week would have to be SmackDown.
SmackDown. I find it interesting you say that, actually, because I also thought SmackDown was probably the better show of the week. It's the more logically booked show, in my opinion, and the feuds I'm actually quite interested in on there. There's more feuds that I'm interested in SmackDown than I am with Raw. What more can I really say other than TNA followed up the biggest pay-per-view of the year with a fucking shit show, which is an embarrassment to TNA and wrestling.
But like I said, I could pick some good points out of that, but the bad overdid them, and I just really didn't enjoy TNA.
Raw was average. SmackDown was kind of average as well, but probably did a tiny bit better for the pay-per-view than Raw did, in my opinion, even though Raw did announce more matches. So really, this week wasn't really very good, mainly because TNA brought it down so fucking much, and WWE was quite average. Going into a pay-per-view isn't the best, and of course with TNA moving on from their biggest pay-per-view of the year, doing shit isn't exactly the best way to continue either.
From TNA, you do expect a good flow on, so we know what happens next from the matches that happen at Bound for Glory. And WWE, we do need a build-up to their pay-per-view, because that's coming up this Sunday. And I don't think they've achieved both shows and achieved it.
With 2 weeks of build as well. You know, get your comments in this week of wrestling down in the comment section below. What did you think was the better show? What thoughts do you have on the 3 shows that happened this week, especially TNA, because that sucked. Yeah.
And thank you for listening to our podcast. That has been it from the British Fist.
Yeah.
And that has been it from Mr. Parkin and NJ Meh, and goodbye.